Hello and welcome to Authors and Espresso. My name is Nadia and I'm your host. And I am so excited to launch into this actual first official episode. We had a couple pre-launch episodes that I hope you got to listen to. But today we are diving in, and this is a platform where we highlight self-published, independently published, indie authors, whatever term you want to use, and also give tips on the self-publishing process. So I thought I would start today off at the very beginning because a lot of authors have that big question. Should I self-publish? Should I try to go the traditional route? And what did I do? I went the self-publishing side. So I want to share with you what self-publishing actually means, if that's a question in your mind, and why I chose the route that I did, and just go over the pros and cons of both. There's no wrong way if it gets your book out there and you're happy with the end result, but some people just don't know about either path and just want a little more information. So let's start at the very beginning with, what does it even mean to be a self-published author? So basically, self-publishing means that you handle all the details of getting your book to print in a nutshell. That means you obviously write the book, but then you also have to manage the editing, the cover design, the formatting the book, the interior design of the book. How are you going to market yourself? How are you going to distribute the book? Where will people be able to get it? All of those fine details. When you're self-publishing, usually that means you are in control of every aspect of that process, good or bad. Now, the good thing about modern day, right now, 2025, there are so many platforms out there that make it very easy for you to be a self-published author. Many people around the world know about Amazon, and Amazon has Kindle Direct Publishing, which puts books directly on their Kindle app, where people can read your book on their phone, their iPad, their computer, order books directly from Amazon, on-demand printing. They make it really easy. And it's a name that a lot of people know. Barnes & Noble, also a huge name that a lot of people know. They have Barnes & Noble Press. And so they make it easy to put things on their platform and have it on their Nook Book, which is their ebook platform. Then you have Ingram Spark, which is a huge company for self-published authors that puts your books on both of those platforms and many others like Walmart, Target, and wherever else you can put your books. I haven't gotten that website and that platform to work for me. We could talk about that way down the line, but it is out there and it is supposed to be an easy platform for people to use to get their works into mainstream and worldwide distribution. And then just because you are self-publishing doesn't mean that there's no help out there. So there are two really big companies that offer self-publishing assistance. You're still considered a self-published author if you go with them, but they can handle a lot of the pieces of the puzzle for you. So BookBaby is a huge one. I'm hoping to get someone from that platform on our podcast, hopefully in the next few weeks. And then there's also Draft to Digital, which I have less experience with, but I know people that have used that service and they've been very happy with it. And then there's tons more out there. And then you have a lot of vanity press, mom and pop shops that say, I have experience in this and I will help you. And I'm a one person show. There's plenty of places out there. Do your research, get reviews. I say go with companies, go with long-standing companies, but there's a lot of people out there willing to take your money to quote unquote help you through the process. Anyway, there's a lot of ways that the door has been open to make it easy to get your work out there without waiting for some traditional publishing house to give you permission to publish your works. Now, the trade-off when you are self-publishing is that for good or bad, all of the decisions are on you. Some people love that, like myself. I like to be in control of everything, of every detail. I love to plan. Some people find that it could be really overwhelming and they really don't want to know the ins and outs of the process like that. So whichever road you choose, I want people to be educated on the process, and then you make the decision that's best for you. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way if in the end you are proud of the product that you have and you're happy with the services that you paid for. So I want to start talking a little bit about why I chose to self-publish because everybody's reasons and journey is different. So I am a huge fan of Stephen King. I never say I'm his number one author because number one fan because he did movies and books on that and that didn't go so well. So I'm a big fan, but I won't say I was number one fan. But I love how he really is transparent about his whole journey. He really is dedicated to giving people a lot of information and background on how he got started. And he teaches courses and he wrote the book On Writing, which is about the craft of writing itself. And so all the information of how he got his start was out there. And it was very hard in the 70s. Sending things out, trying to get published, writing under a different name, trying to get published, getting rejection letters in the mail. And obviously, over time, it worked out for him. He's one of the top authors in the world. But in the early days, it was really, really tough. And here in 2025, we don't have to do all that anymore. You don't have to send your works out, send out inquiry letters, get an agent and hope that somebody likes your work and hopes that someone publishes it. You don't have to wait for someone to tell you yes. You can tell yourself yes. And so that's what I did. I told myself, yes, I can get my book in people's hands if I do it this way on my own. And that's what I did. And I'm happy with that decision. And that was the right decision for me. If you hear a cracking in the background, those are my bones. Apparently, I need to drink more water. Everything is cricking and cracking right now. But yeah, I told myself yes, and I just went for it. And I'm really happy with the end result. So for me, I feel like that was a good decision because there's so much that comes with going with a traditional publisher that I really just did not want. So there are pros and cons to both avenues. So let's talk about self-publishing for a moment. So like I said, you are in complete control, good or bad. I think that's good. Many people don't want. Oh my gosh, my wrist is really, I'm just going to stop moving in the background. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's driving me nuts. So arthritis is setting in. I hate that. So we're going to have to work on that. Sidetrack with my bones. But yeah, I love it. I love being in control. I am a Capricorn. If you know any Capricorns, you know that we like to plan things and be in control of things because we do things right. We're like the awesomest sign out there. You're on your own timeline. You get a larger share of the royalties. You can connect a bit easier with your readers and you are in control of your marketing plan for good or bad, but you can market where and to who you want to. So to me, those are all great aspects of self-publishing. Now, some of the downfalls, especially for first-time authors, if you have no idea how the process works or what you're doing, you could waste a lot of money like I did. Just trying out companies and products that you really didn't need or may not be the best. It's all a learning curve when you're doing something for the first time. I often tell people that writing a book is not the hard part, it's the marketing. And when all the marketing is on your shoulders, if you don't know how to market well, that is a huge obstacle. Social media can be a full-time job. There are actually social media managers out there who've made that a full-time job. And I've learned very quickly that I don't want to be a social media manager. I hate it. That's why if you follow me on any platform except for Facebook, like you hardly see me because I literally hate it and I have to get better at it. But marketing is all on your shoulders and marketing is largely on social media right now. So if you don't like social media, that might be a tough road for you. And it can be a little more challenging getting into bookstores and libraries. Some library systems have made it relatively easy. Like I'm very fortunate here in Las Vegas, our ebook system, Libby, it's kind of easy to get your products there. And I think that Libby goes beyond Nevada, but I'm not sure. But it can be a little difficult to get into certain libraries depending on the classification of your book, and certainly getting into bookstores, that can be difficult depending on how you set up your distribution. And not knowing how to set that up properly on the back end can keep you out of some stores on the front end. So there are those learning curve things to learn. Now, going the traditional publishing route, where you're looking for a big company like Random House to promote you, to sign your work and give you an advance and do the marketing for you, there's a lot of pros to that if you can get it. I always tell people, of course, you can send out the letters, you can try to get an agent, you could do things the traditional way. You may be waiting a while before you get a yes. So if you're on a certain time crunch, if you have a timeline in your mind of when you want to publish, going with a publishing house may not honor that or may not be feasible for that. But of course, if something major has happened in your life and you have a huge following, or you have news stories done about you, or Oprah's beating down your door because she wants an interview, then for sure you might get a publishing house's eyes on you a little bit easier than the average person that just woke up with the dream to write and nobody really knows who they are. So if you go with the traditional publishing house, usually they're a big company that many people know. They already have the contacts in the industry. They can get you into the bookstores. They can get you into bigger platforms, possibly on news stations or festivals or keynote speeches or what have you, if they're really marketing and promoting your book. You should have access to professional editors and designers, which takes a big part of the puzzle off of your plate, because editing and designing are two of the expensive pieces of the puzzle. Book design, designing the inside of your book, your cover, making sure your book is properly edited. All those things can be really, really costly. And then again, getting you distributed maybe on a larger scale than a self-published author can get. So those are the pros of going with a traditional publisher. But also there are some cons. So again, they may not be on your time frame. They may say, "Oh, we put out your kinds of books in your genre in the fall, and you came to them in January." And now you have to wait like 7-8 months before they're going to put out your type of book. Or if someone who is a larger name comes to them, they may push their works first and push your works back. You never know. You don't have control over the timeline when you sign with someone. They also can tell you that they want your book changed, that they want you to edit in a certain way, that they want revisions by a certain date and time that may put you at a time crunch because you have other things going on. You may or may not be in control of what your book cover looks like or other big parts of the book. If that's not important to you, then okay. I took that very seriously. I wanted complete control of that, so I had that designed. Also, you have to consider when you're going with the publishing house, yes, they're doing a lot of things for you behind the scenes, but that also comes with them getting a larger portion of your royalties. If they really have marketed for you, that could be a good trade-off because they've taken on a big piece of the puzzle in marketing and promoting you and getting you out there, but they're going to recoup their money on the back end. So those are just some pros and cons of self-publishing versus traditional publishing. What does it all mean? Who does what? I had fun during my process. There were a lot of tears. There were literally blood, sweat, and tears, but at the end of it, I was just so proud. And now I teach self-publishing courses and I work with authors so that they don't make the mistakes that I did. I do like to save people the pain that I went through so that you can get the book in your hand faster. But it is a process and you just have to consider what you are comfortable with, what you are capable of performing, and know when to seek support, when to seek help. And there's plenty of help out there. And I talk about resources all the time. So even saying that you're self-published doesn't mean you have to do everything yourself. It doesn't mean you have to become a graphic designer and design your own book. Fiverr literally has everything you need to help you self-publish your book. Even hiring someone to put it on Amazon for you if you trust giving someone your password. So self-publishing isn't as isolated and alone as it may sound. And if you're able to follow manuals and guides and be coachable, you certainly can do this yourself. So that's just my little tidbit. I wanted to give people a little insight into what we're even talking about when we say self-published authors. And I like to promote self-published authors because it is so much harder, as you've heard. Self-published authors, one way or another, we're kind of doing everything ourselves, and it all falls on us at the end of the day. And people that went the traditional route have a machine behind them that hopefully is pushing their work. So I like to just highlight self-published authors because I know the journey. I know what it took to get that book in your hands, and I know that marketing is such a heavy burden, and any way that I can promote someone and get the word out of their works and help their following along at all, I try to do that. So that is why we're here at Authors and Espresso, just promoting indie authors, trying to give people tips so they can do it quicker and easier, so they don't have a lot of the same learning curve. You have a little bit of guidance, and I just appreciate you all for being here and hope that we all learn and grow together as we all travel on this journey. So please, as I highlight authors, if something catches your attention, please pick up their works, get their works off of Amazon. I really try to promote people who have put their works on Amazon because you can get that pretty much anywhere in the world. For those of you that are boycotting Amazon still, hopefully Barnes & Nobles is an option for you. But please support indie authors because so much goes into it. It can take so long to recoup the money that we put into our works, and a lot of people just creatively write because they love it. But it is nice to get their stories out there because we all have a story. And I would love for everybody to be inspired to write something. And if you write something and you want other people to read it, just know that there is an easier path out there for you, much easier than what people experienced 10, 15, 20 years ago. So we don't have to wait for a publishing house to tell us yes. You can tell yourself yes and put your work and your words in people's hands and grow your following and share your story. So that is it for this episode of Authors and Espresso. Thank you for joining in. Please check in next week. We will have our first author spotlight. I can't wait for you to hear Angela Finley's story and read her book On This Rock. So that will be dropping September 9th. So check back. We'll have a couple author highlights every month and then some tips on the self-publishing journey. Until next time, please keep writing, keep being inspired to share your story.